This is a tutorial on how to read a Microsoft Word transcript into R for use with the QDAP package or any of the other number of text packages that R has. There are two methods for reading a transcript into R. There's a longer, safer method that is available in the wiki of the QDAP package on GitHub. And then there's this shorter method. This shorter method uses the read transcript function. If this method is not working for you, you need to go with the longer method. That longer method has a lot of hand parsing and such, but it works quite nicely. First thing we'll want to do is load the QDAP library. Next thing we do, let's go ahead and look at our transcript. Okay. And we have a transcript data looks like this. We have person here, dialogue here. Very first thing we'll do with this transcript is look for any read dialogue that's read from a book or poem or whatnot, and we're going to use curly braces to denote that. Okay, here is a story that's been read, and here we've used curly quotes. We want to use curly braces. This is just a convention that I'm recommending, and the reason for that is we can parse that information out if we use curly braces. If you use bold or italics, R doesn't recognize that, and you can't parse that information out. It doesn't provide any external information. Let me show you how that works quickly. Say that I'm going to go ahead and make the width a little bit bigger here. Say that you have a data set that looks like this. You have person, some dialogue, and you've done some convention, unintelligible, interrupting. Like I've recommended, put your story here in curly braces. You can use round. Also can use angle braces. Any of these types of braces. If you've denoted annotations within the text like this, you can use the bracket extract or bracket X and bracket extract function to do some nice things. Let's check out what they do. Supply to bracket X. Supply to it the dialogue variable, which is this text variable, and you tell it go ahead and remove all the square brackets. And let's see what it does. Well, options width equals, let's go 50. Let's see what that looks like. Oops. Okay, and you can see now that all that square bracketed information is now gone. The unintelligible interrupting is now gone. Next, let's look at what curly does. Same thing, it just pulls out the curly quotes. Or by default, you can tell it to pull out all the, not quoted, all the bracketed information. Conversely, look back at our data set again. It's a little wider. Look back at our data set. We can pull these bracketed information back out. Same arguments. Dialogue variable or text variable. And let's pull out just the square. Pulls out the squares. Bracketed information, just the curly. This is our story. Or you can pull it all out by default. This works nicely with paste to. And you supply to it that curly. Oops, I'm missing a little piece there. Supply to it the paste to and say space, and you can pull the story back out and put it back together. It's quite nice. Alright, let's start doing some text parsing. After we've denoted red dialogue with curly braces, we're going to want to go ahead and get rid of all straight quotes. This is important because this is a special character to denote a character vector. So you go into replace in Microsoft Word, replace what? Well, straight quotes with nothing. Done the replacement. Next thing you're going to want to do is anytime you have a turn of talk, you want it to be continuous. Here we have a break, get rid of that break. This will not read into R properly. Save it. And the next step is to copy this to the clipboard. Whatever your operating system is, this will be different. For a PC, I can use Control A, Control C. Go into Microsoft Excel and paste it. And I can do left justify. And let's look at that a little bit. That first column looks nice, pulled it over. Next column, pull it over. Let's go ahead and wrap that so we can see it a little nicer. That looks good. Down through, we shouldn't see any text in this last column because it's empty. If it looks good, go ahead and save it. Notice that we have white space in between, and we still have those special characters here, end dashes and ellipses and special characters, curly quotes and such that we need to get rid of. Just by reading in that data set into R with the read transcript, it will automatically parse that information for us. Let's go ahead and do that. Supply to it the name of the data set or the path to your data set. And we're going to say header is false because there was no header, nothing said person or text in the file. And a little bit hard to look at. Let's actually do options width equals, let's go crazy. Alright, look at it. Still a little hard to look at, so I go ahead and wrap it with htrunc df, comma, at the end, comma, let's say maybe 50 sounds good, 50 width. That looks a lot nicer to look at. And we see automatically, looks pretty good. However, we'd like to have some names for our columns, and this area here isn't really transcript information, it's just researcher annotations. We want to get rid of both those. So our next step is to read in the data, and we can supply to read transcript column names with the column names argument. And we're just going to say, instead of leaving that blank, first column we want to call it person and second one dialogue. Let's look at what that looks like. Much better. Still want to get rid of these researcher annotations, and we do that with the remove row function in QDAP. And what we do, supply to it the data set name, which is dat, tell it remove column 1, or we could have supplied person, and what to look for. Well, look for a crosstalk, bracket CRO, and we'll see it removed it. Yes, it did. Problem is we still have student. Well, remove row takes multiple things to look for. Remove CRO, bracket CRO, or bracket ST. And see what that looks like. It's removed it like we wanted. One last argument to be aware of in read transcript is the dash argument. By default, read transcript will replace dashes with blank spaces. You can also tell it, hey, replace these with, for instance here, pause. And let's see what that looks like. There, it has replaced the dash with a pause. This has been a tutorial on how to read transcript, Microsoft Word transcript into R for use with QDAP. This is a shorter technique.